Welcome, everybody, here on Cinema Gulp to Flights and Flicks, the Halloween edition. This is my favorite time of year, Ben. I hope it's yours too. It might not be, but I think it is.
I'm feeling especially spooky tonight, Ben.
Exactly. And tonight on Flights and Flicks, we're doing horror remakes. I went into mine blindly. I think Ben picked one that he had seen before, and it was a great selection. But we're going to get into it. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, we just crossed 800 a couple of weeks ago, and we thank everybody for that. Now, Ben, for Flights and Flicks, the horror remakes Halloween edition, what horror remake did you choose?
I chose 1990s George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Not to confuse the audience, that's the actual title of the film. Just as the remake of The Thing is John Carpenter's The Thing, this film is actually directed by Tom Savini. Underrated, underappreciated remake of a genre-defining film. Yes. And I think it does a pretty good job of carrying the torch on into the future of the 90s.
The movie that I picked, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd never seen it. I heard it was good, and I just recently watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the big screen, which was fantastic and terrifying and gross. But I chose the 2003 Michael Bay produced remake, which I kind of threw off as like, fuck this movie, I don't care. When it first came out, this just seems like another lame remake. To my surprise, it was pretty good. It's very different than the original. If this is your first time watching, we typically go with 4 different beers to talk about 4 different elements of the movie. We usually go with story, character, filmmaker, and theme. For the Halloween episode, because we're just going crazy, we just decided to choose 4 different beers for random elements of the film that we chose to go with. So we don't know. I don't know what Ben has as far as what kind of beer he's choosing for what purpose in the film, but this is going to be exciting. So Ben, we're going to get into our movies. Tell us about your movie and then introduce your first beer.
Well, like I said, I picked the Night of the Living Dead remake, and anyone who's seen the original will feel right at home with this film. It follows a very similar path to the original film, but like any good remake, there are things that are changed and kind of remixed and looked at differently. And I have to say, there's just some really great new takes on the characters, especially with Tony Todd as Ben, and then Barbara is now like an Ellen Ripley with zombies. Yeah. In fact, I have a theory about that. She, about halfway through the film, becomes really badass, handles some guns, kills some zombies, and she's got a short pixie cut. So her hair is shorter than Ripley's in Aliens. She was trying to one-up Ripley as a badass, but then Alien 3 came around, she went completely bald. So, you know, Ripley can never be outdone. Although Barbara does a really great job fighting zombies in this movie. There are a lot of great elements in this film that I love. The soundtrack's great. It's shot really well. The special effects and makeup are, of course, great. It's Tom Savini's directing. You know he's going to demand that. But the first thing I thought I'd focus on with the beer is just the theme of zombies. The original Night of the Living Dead was not the first zombie film, but it established kind of the genre as a whole and where the genre would go for like the next, I don't know, 3 decades or so. Previous to that film, zombie movies were usually voodoo films. And then since then, they become about viruses. But there's this really sweet spot with radioactive comets sometime in the 60s. The 1990 film is kind of a celebration of reimagining the original in the 20 plus years between those 2 films. And what that is just the growing zeitgeist of zombies in the public conscious and how that they are apex predators. Yes. They'll never stop. It's like the end of the movie. There's a great line. They're us. We're them. It's true. What's the hardest animal to hunt? It's man, but an undead man who keeps coming, takes 30 shots and doesn't fall down. I mean, I like vampires. Werewolves are fun. Give me Frankenstein's monster any day of the week. But zombies never stop coming. They're the cockroaches of monsters. They are the apex predator. So that's why I chose Apex Predator by Off Color Brewing. And I'm sure there is an amount of alcohol here, 6.5%.
What type of beer?
I don't know, man. Why you gotta ask me the tough questions? It's a farmhouse ale.
Give it a try.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's pretty
What?
good.
Give me a description. What do you got going
Little
on?
sour, just a little sour towards the back there, and but just smooth in general though. I like it. Real crisp too. It's a good one.
Polish it off.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Yeah.
For me, this is an easy one. So because I chose the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in 2003, I did my homework and I went and saw the original on the big screen last week, and it was phenomenal. And the one thing I noticed about that film was that it's so many close-up shots of just gross images, gross people. It really shows 1974 like backwoods Texas as just like a despicable place with gross, sweaty, perverted dudes. Everybody's disgusting in this movie. Tobe Hooper, the director, just sets up this wonderful, scary, how do I escape this kind of world? And when your car breaks down, you're stuck in something like this. What do? And the remake doesn't quite go about it the exact same way, though I do enjoy and appreciate the way it did go. You don't really see the grimy, gross Texans or Texas imagery. You basically just get like a girl in distress who kills herself at the beginning, and then they're off to the races. But both films do showcase and reference a lot of Texas back. Basically, if you haven't seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in this new one, because that's the one we're talking about, I got to stop myself from just talking about the old one. But in this new one, they're going to see a Leonard Skinner concert. And there's 5 hot bodies. This newer one, they obviously made everybody a hot body, like super sexy and stuff like that. But they're going to a Leonard Skinner concert, and they pick up a hitchhiker who looks to be about maybe a 15-year-old girl at most. And she starts speaking all this crazy nonsense, and next thing you know, she blows her head off. And definitely the best shot of the movie. It's very Jaws, Roy Scheider sitting on the beach. It's like that zoom
like
pole or whatever.
That Hitchcockian thing where the camera's moving while they're zooming. Yeah,
it's fucking great. And then you just see the back of her head blown out, and then you see the window in the back blown out. So they try to go for help. They end up in Leatherface's house with a bunch of crazy family members, and everybody's insane, and they're all cannibals, and they just enjoy the hell out of torturing and tormenting people. And a lot of crazy violence and stuff ensues. And we have our final girl, who's Jessica Biel, who I thought was actually pretty good in the movie. She looks amazing. The camera does not shy away from her butt or her breasts, which I'm fine with, especially in 2003. That was okay to do. I've been talking a lot about Texas. So for my first beer, I mean, come on, Shiner Bock. Yes, Lone Star is more of a Texas beer. I couldn't find it, but Shiner Bock is one I actually like better. And when I smoke a brisket on my smoker, I soak it in Shiner Bock first. So the first beer I thought of for this movie was Shiner Bock because it just spews Texas. Yes, I've had it before, Ben, but we're going to take a sip anyway.
Cheers.
I love this beer. I don't know if you've ever had Shiner Bock, Ben.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's fucking great. It's
great.
It's just like, it's perfect. Like it's such a great American beer, and I'm gonna polish it off because there's not a lot of alcohol content in it.
Rock the Bock, bro. I chose a beer inspired by a scene. Just like in the original, Cooper, his wife, and the daughter who's bit are holding up in the basement. And Cooper in this film is just, man, you thought he was a dickhead in the original
I was
film?
just about to say he's so much more insufferable in this
Oh
movie.
my god! Did he smack his wife in the original? I couldn't remember. He gives her a little smack at one point.
Do you want it on the phone?
When they all get together, he's insisting everyone goes in the basement, which is a bad idea to start in the basement because, you know, if you're stuck down there. He's just so all about the basement. That's what he wants. He doesn't want to help with the windows. He doesn't want to fight zombies. All he wants is his basement party. So,
wow.
And guess what? It's his party, and he'll cry if he wants to because it does not go well. The party goes bad. Spoilers. You can check it out. So I got by Temperance Beer Company Basement Party. It is a 4.9% American lager. I like this can.
I do too. Yeah,
I love the funkiness of it.
It's great.
Let's see if this beer is funky though, huh?
Yeah, do it.
Oh man, yeah, I drink that at a basement party. It's smooth. It's smooth. It doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, but you know, like beer doesn't always need to. I wouldn't say it's watery though. But it's real smooth, and I dig it. It's good.
Well, you're gonna beat me because the next one I chose, I just fucking love this beer, Ben. It's Shipyard's Smashed Pumpkin. And normally I like pumpkin ales that are made from brown ales, but this is an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. One of my favorite beers to drink during the season. It just represents horror. It represents Halloween. If you guys don't know Shipyard, it's one of the best pumpkin. There's so many pumpkin beers these days.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the best. I've been drinking it for years. And when I watched the remake the other night for the first time, I just was like, God, I wish I had a Shipyard Smash Pumpkin right now. It represents the Halloween season, horror movies for me. I had to get a pumpkin beer for this one, Ben, is basically what I'm saying.
Good choice. Good choice.
Okay, so here it is. I swear, the other two I have not had. And it's 9%, by the way. It's not fucking around. God damn, it's good. It's so good. If you guys have not had Shipyard Smash Pumpkin and you like pumpkin beers, it's legit. It's up there with the greatest ones ever.
It's got the charm of the original Leatherface with the strength of the 2003 Leatherface.
And they do smash someone's head in this movie, so there you go, smashed. That's what I meant by it.
All right, so for my next category, if you will, I chose actor. And with this drink here, I wanted to celebrate the one, the only Tony Todd, one of the greatest horror film actors of all time. But this film came out 2 years before Candyman. And a lot of people don't talk about this movie, and it's such a great, he's a leading man. He takes charge. He fights zombies. He fucking shoots Cooper in his stupid fucking ass.
Ben in the original 68 is very knight in shining armor, does no wrong. Like the Tony Todd version of Ben he can be vulnerable, and he can be kind of a scary guy.
Well, even at the end there, and don't want to spoil a 30-year-old movie for you guys, but it's almost like he wants to get a win over Cooper, which Cooper fucks everybody over in this movie at various points. But he's so, like, he is obstinate like Cooper in a different way, which is definitely a different approach than the original Ben took. So I chose this beer though for his most famous role, Candyman. It is a honey beer from Poland, Perla, 5.4. Give it a go.
You haven't tried this one? Yeah. Oh. Hopefully there's some honey in there.
Ooh, that's sweet like Tony Todd. Dude, that literally, yeah. No, I mean, it tastes like honey. Like, you get a
Did
little
you
bit
say
of,
that's sweet like Tony Todd?
It's sweet like Tony Todd, baby.
Helen, I came for you.
Yeah, you get a little nip of hey, this is beer here, and then here's oh my god, that's fucking honey I'm drinking now.
I love it.
It's real good.
To no surprise to you, and I can't believe this happened again, and I swear to God, I'm not looking at this brewery on purpose. They just seem to speak to me, and I've said this like 3 or 4 times now on Flights and Flicks. I picked Paperback. If you remember, like I keep choosing Paperback beer, Paperback Brewery. It's usually because of their labels and just they make some interesting IPAs. I chose a beer for this one that is the driving force, the theme, and the title of the movie, which is Chainsaw. The thing I like about this remake is that it doesn't shy away from a lot of the disturbing scenes of the original. And the original, despite what people remember about it, though it is disturbing and, like I said, very gross and grimy, it's not very gory because they didn't have a lot of money. So you don't get a lot of like cutting off people's body. It's all done suggestively. A lot of people have this like misconception of the original one where there's guts everywhere. There's not. There's really not. You're really excited and you're really on edge when the fucking chainsaw is going and he's chasing somebody with it. And both movies have so much of that. I remember just like thinking, this guy's like overweight and he's wearing this gigantic like butcher fucking like apron. How is he so fast? Like, how is he? And he's holding this giant chainsaw. How does he keep up with all these people he's trying to kill? It's amazing.
Dude, he is like a 300-pound man in the middle of nowhere, Texas. He played high school football.
That's probably it.
Holy shit, this motherfucker's heavy.
Because I just love the chainsaw aspect of the movie so much, and that's when the movie really amps up. I mean, there's other kills where people are hit with meat cleavers and stuff. But when that chainsaw goes, like, your heart starts pumping. So I found this beer, Ben, from Paperback called Lucky Bunny with a Chainsaw. And I want to be able to spin this around because there's the name, but the logo is an actual bunny on a unicorn with a chainsaw. And this is a hazy IPA, which I can never escape on this show, Ben. We always end up with one of those. Or a lucky bunny with a chainsaw. Man, Paperback is still knocking it out of the park.
Nice.
That's a fucking perfect hazy IPA. It's perfect. It's got the pininess instead of the citra. Like, it's perfect.
I chose to come back to one of our regular categories, and I chose filmmaker. Tom Savini is such an accomplished special effects makeup artist. He's been in the business for so long. He's done a bunch of different stuff. He's mostly directed TV. I think this is the only theatrically released feature he's done.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, Ben, you mentioned, because you do actual research. I don't do that so much. But you said he didn't have a good time on this, right? You said he didn't have a good time shooting this?
I think he quoted a lot that it was harder than he thought.
Why on earth would you dare to remake a classic?
The man's insane. He's insane.
I had apprehension, of course, in doing the remake.
Well, I'll say this. It probably didn't hurt that the screenplay was written again by George Romero. But it's a really great film. It is. It's good, and I would have loved to have seen him direct another film along, like, I don't know, the size maybe. I thought he did a great job. Kind of a shame he won't do anymore, but he is a great makeup artist. Has such an interesting career. But my first introduction to Tom Savini was actually as an actor. He had a little role.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, he had a role in a movie called From Dusk Till Dawn.
Sex Machine.
Sex Machine, that's right, buddy. With his fucking pistol cock and balls, man. Sex Machine's so funny. He's such a funny character.
He got to turn himself into a rat. And he was so because he did the makeup too in that movie. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he like was like, I'm gonna make myself a fucking like gnarly motherfucker, and like he turns into a rat. Basically.
Yeah, and for years I had no idea that wasn't just some actor. You know what I mean? That was Tom Savini.
A lot of people thought that was Dante from Clerks.
Not even supposed to be here today.
You know what? I could kind of see that. You know what's really funny about that? He wasn't even supposed to come into work that day.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks.
In a row?
When I think of Tom Savini, I will always think of Sex Machine. And I always thought if I ever met Sex Machine, he might give me an ectogasm.
Oh,
I don't know, guys. I really struggled for this last one.
No, that might be your best one, dude.
It might be my best one. Let's see. This is Drecker Brewing Company out of Fargo, I guess. Nice, go Fargo. And it is an Indian Pale Ale. Let's see if you'll feel like sex machines in my mouth. That's good. Sex machine. I mean, ectogasm.
Come on, sex machine.
Usually an IPA guy, but that's not too bad.
But he's such a big part of Day of the Dead, obviously.
Oh, yeah. All
Dawn
those
of the
things.
Dead.
All those things. Yeah, and you know, he's in Dawn. He's one of the bikers in the gang.
Yeah, he's one of the bikers.
Yeah, he's been around since almost the beginning. I don't think he worked on Night. He came on.
No.
Dawn,
He
right?
was probably like early teens in that movie.
Yeah.
He's an absolute legend. He's a rock star. I wish he had done more stuff as well, Ben, but I'm glad that he did what he thought he should do because he was such an integral part of so many of the Dead movies that he made his own Night of the Living Dead. And the one thing I'll say about the remake, I think, well, you can't really compare the two because 68 was so different than 1990 as far as the way actors portrayed their craft. It was such a different type of thing. But I gotta say, like, for so much more of the movie taking place in the daylight than the original, he does create the atmosphere. And I was wondering when I watched this last night, can he create, because I know he can do the effects, I know he can do the makeup and the zombies and the gore, but can he create the atmosphere? And he did. They're coming to get you.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
The two movies start like exactly the same,
Sort of, yeah.
And then there's like this point where it kind of splits, and it's when they're boarding up all the windows, and you can see Barbara. She like takes off her skirt and puts some pants on. She eventually takes her blouse off, and she's got like, you know, a tank on, and you know, she's like trying to make herself more combat ready.
Stop it! You're losing it, girl. You are losing it!
I think that's another neat thing about the film. It's very ensemble, but to me, it feels like Ben is the lead, and then like that shifts as the film goes on, and she becomes the lead.
Yeah, which is different from the original. Like Ben is the lead in the first movie, like completely. He's completely the lead. Yeah. So for my final beer, and I'm so excited for this one, I can't wait to taste it. So I chose this one, and I did go back to our roots of Flights and Flicks, Ben, and I picked character. The character I chose was Leatherface, because what is Leatherface? Does he know what he's doing? Is this like every movie would insinuate that his family is just, he's inbred to some weird extent that we don't really find out about, but he's mentally unstable. He's physically deformed. And is he a ruthless killer, or is he doing what he was born and raised to do? He doesn't die in the original 1974 version, and he doesn't die in the 2003 remake. So I chose from Two Villains Brewery a beer called Villains Never Die. And I can't wait to say this mouthful. It's a sour ale with Cara orange, peach, and marshmallow.
Ooh, nice.
So I am fucking salivating right now to try this goddamn beer. Leatherface never dies. This one's gonna take a minute, Ben, because there's so much going on. The peach hits me immediately. The orange is in the background, but I don't taste the marshmallow. Let me keep going. Yeah, the peach and the orange are there. It's not super sour like some of the other ones I've had on this show, but it's really good. But I'm not tasting that sweet marshmallow. I don't know why.
Maybe you should get some tiny marshmallows to put in your glass.
That was excellent as an orange and peach sour, but regretfully, I didn't get the marshmallow. I was waiting for it on the back half to kind of show like a sweetness or something, but I don't know, it's not there. I guess when we finish the show, I'll have to drink the entire 16-ounce can, and maybe I'll taste it by then.
You don't want to waste it.
So those are our beers and our films for Flights and Flicks. The Halloween edition, we got to do our favorite beers of the night.
Perla, my sweet boy Tony Todd, my little honey. I just love it, man. It's just like I said, it's a beer and a little bit of honey at the end. Oh, it's great. I love it. So
my favorite beer of the night, by no surprise to me, but that's just because I know myself, it's Shipyard Smash Pumpkin, because I'm just such a fucking fanatic for that beer. I drink way too much of it in the month of October because it's very strong. It's very fattening, but I drink it and then I eat candy and I get diabetes. So it's all good. I really liked this remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very different take. Obviously, not as gross or grimy as the 70s movie, but exciting and terrifying. Still very disturbing. I think it's a great watch during the Halloween season, Ben.
Night of the Living Dead, 1990. It's a film made by a fan who became one of the filmmakers for fans. I don't think it undercuts the original at all. I think it expands on it in some interesting ways. I can't believe more people don't talk about this movie. And
they don't know it exists.
They don't even know it exists. You're right. And everyone remembers the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which is a great movie in its own right. But there's like two of these like just great remakes now, and nobody talks about the first one, you know? But yeah, you guys should really check out 1990 Night of the Living Dead. It's awesome. Go check it out. Check out the new ending. The new ending is great.
For you out there watching us, enjoy these beers. Find them in the description below, and watch both of these movies, especially Ben's, because not enough people know that movie even was made. Everybody knows Texas Chainsaw 2003 because we've all seen the Jessica Biel butt shot gifs. But Night of the Living Dead 1990 by Tom Savini is really good. It's really good, and I'm glad you picked it, Ben.
Thank you, sir.
And continue on the Halloween spooky season, everybody. For Ben and Ben, this is Cinema Gulp, and Ben,
we drink your reboots.